Good morning. Lecture 4. The title is Classicism and Romanticism. The triumph in America of 19th century Romanticism over 18th century Classicism was an intellectual revolution second in importance only to the political revolution that brought the nation into being. The literary current of Romanticism appeared in America as the result of the deep disillusionment of the democratic-minded people in the Revolution. The contradictions between the rich and the poor were as strong as ever. Negro slavery flourished in the country. The Indian tribes were exterminated. Classicism rested first upon the belief that reason is the dominating characteristic both of nature and of man, and that both are governed by fixed, unchanging laws. Classicism emphasized reason over imagination, the social over the personal, the common over the individual. In literature, Classicism valued clarity, order, and balance. Romanticism, in contrast, placed central importance upon the emotions and upon the individual. For Romantic writers, reason was not the only or even the surest guide to truth. In literature, Romantics were less concerned with social or political reform than with expression of their own intuitive experience. Nature is one of the major themes of the American Romanticists. It was a time when new lands were discovered. Courageous pioneers and trappers penetrated into the wilderness of the boundless forest and prairies. Man's struggle with nature and his victory over it inspired many of the American writers. The Romantics emphasized the beauty, strangeness, and mystery of nature against the classicist view of nature as a system of rational laws. The Romantic saw nature not as a machine, but as organic process, constant development, and change. The writers of Romanticism depicted life as a struggle between vice and virtue, and insisted that virtue should defeat evil. But when they looked for the triumph of virtue in real life, they couldn't find it. Here we come to the most characteristic feature of Romanticism, the great gap between reality and the ideal, the dream of the poet, artist, or writer. Another feature of Romanticism was that the writers, having created characters, wished to bring through them a moral judgment on the nation as a whole, disregarding the existence of classes or different sections of the population. The writers of Romanticism were true patriots. They loved their country and recognized the importance of developing national literature and national history. The Romantic poets and writers produced a powerful literature with wide variations. They developed such genres as the novel, historical, social, fantastic, the romance, and short story. They gave their readers a taste for old ballads, epics, and the folk tales of the Indians. In Romantic literature, a reader finds a complicated plot, dynamic development of the events, and sudden changes in the fates of the heroes. Many dramatic conflicts were solved with the help of chance accidents, fatal meetings, or the discovery of dreadful secrets. Flourishing from the 1820s to the 1850s, Romanticism can be divided into early Romanticism, the 20s and 30s, and Late Romanticism, the 40s and 50s. The early period began with the romances and short stories of Washington Irving, 1783–1859. These forms were developed later by other American writers. The historical novels began in America with Fenimore Cooper, 1789–1851. Romantic poetry appeared in great variety. Most outstanding were the poems of Edgar Allan Poe, 1809–1849. Characteristic of the late Romanticism in American literature were Cooper's later novels, Poe's romances and poems written during the last 8 years of his life. Early Romanticists were more optimistic about the American reality, than the late Romanticists were. Criticizing the drawbacks of American civilization, they believed that it provided vast possibilities for development. Late Romanticism developed in an atmosphere of sharp social contradictions, influenced by the development of capitalism in the country. The fiction of late Romanticists was permeated with a tragic mood, conflicts, confused feelings. That's the end of the lecture. See you.